Sometimes when you go to the cinema, you want your ideas to be challenged and to be pulled all around by your emotions until you are a quivering wreck. But many of us get enough of that nonsense in real life. So in the cinema, we just want to see some big-ass monster destroying stuff and probably killing some people, or other equally big-ass monsters. Our brains can do thinking in their own time. And for monsters, the only way is up. We want bigger, badder, and more ridiculous. So today we're looking at the top 10 massive movie monsters. Our pet monster is a red triangle. He may not look very imposing at the moment, but if you click him, he will soon grow into a huge, enormous, deadly subscription count monster, like the Godzilla of YouTube top 10 videos. Number 10. Sando Aqua monster from Star Wars. Obviously, we need to apologise for reminding you about the Star Wars prequels, but the Sando Aqua monsters on Naboo are one of the few giant creatures that exist as a group rather than just one lone beast. They are almost 200 meters in length and look like a swimming cat with a fish mouth. Sadly, despite their huge size and appetite, none of them managed to rid the galaxy of Jar Jar Binks. Number 9. Smaug. From some drawings done by Tolkien, we can work out that the dragon Smaug was about 25 meters long. He lived inside the dwarf kingdom of Erebor for 150 years after having moved the dwarves out, which they were not exactly delighted about. However, in Tolkien's book The Silmarillion, which gives a huge history of Middle-earth, he talks about a dragon called Ancalagon the Black who was as big as a mountain, which makes Smaug look like a hobbit. Number 8. Kraken. Clash of the Titans. The myth of the Kraken originally came about when sailors spotted giant squid on their long journeys across the oceans, but you would have to be half-starved and drinking seawater to mistake the Clash of the Titans Kraken for a squid. In the original 1981 movie, he looks like a slimy, confused ape with an extra set of arms, but by 2010, this beast, created by Hades, had become a 100-meter-high Godzilla with extra tentacles. Number 7. Galactus. In the Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, we find out that the shiny space dude is being forced to work for a massive being called Galactus. And this monster is probably the biggest to exist in any movie since we saw a huge cloud of sentient dust that devours whole planets. If you read the comics, you'll find out that Galactus was a scientist in the old universe, one which got destroyed in the Big Crunch and became our universe. He also had a very fancy helmet, but it would look pretty weird on top of his dust cloud. Number 6. Devastator. Transformers. We meet Devastator at the end of Transformers Rise of the Fallen, where he does some terrible redesign work on one of the pyramids. He's actually a collection of Decepticons all joined together. Unfortunately, they don't follow the exact IKEA instructions, and the resulting combination is so painful that Devastator is just an angry wild animal. He can also create an artificial black hole in his mouth to suck objects into his mouth. If only he were near some sort of green tea factory or even a brewery, it might take the edge off. Number 5. King Kong. There have been plenty of King Kongs over the years, from stop-motion clay versions to badly fitting monkey suits. So when the team sat down to create Kong Skull Island, they knew the only way to go was bigger. This Kong is over 30 meters high when many before were only a third of that size. He can now comfortably crush a helicopter in one hand. The new Kong is actually set in the same universe as the 2014 Godzilla, so expect them to match up at some point in the future. Number 4. Cloverfield. This creature doesn't really have a name and is referred to in the movie as an LSA, meaning Large Scale Aggressor. The army do love an acronym. Although barely shown in the movie, we can see that it's around 25 stories high, making it just under 100 meters. It has long forelimbs and relatively stubby back limbs, and since J.J. Abrams designed it to be a newborn, it's possible that the adult version walks on its 2 back legs. Number 3. King Ghidorah. Obviously, you can't have a list of giant monsters without including some kind of Godzilla thing, so we're going for the winged giant King Ghidorah, who first appeared in the 1964 Japanese movie Ghidorah, the Three-Headed Monster. In his biggest movie form, battling against Godzilla in the imaginatively named Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, he stands 150 meters tall with a wingspan of 175 meters. Number 2. Sandworm, Dune. Frank Herbert's novel Dune is considered one of the greatest novels of all time. However, attempts to make a movie based on the book have been problematic, which is no surprise given how much history, religion, and mythology is packed into it. Director Alejandro Jodorowsky famously created a whole design book for a movie that never got made. However, David Lynch made a 1984 movie and managed to capture the enormous size of the legendary sandworms that ruled the desert. They're normally about 400 meters long, but in the book, Paul Atreides summons one that is over 2.5 kilometers. That's a lot of worm. Number 1. Bewilderbeast, How to Train Your Dragon 2. The How to Train Your Dragon movies are obviously packed full of dragons. Most of these are only 3 or 4 times bigger than their Viking adversaries, but there are a few behemoths, and at the end of the second movie, we meet the biggest of them all, the Bewilderbeast. With huge elephant-like tusks and a back covered in spikes, the Bewilderbeast is about 150 meters long and 50 meters high, and rather than fire, it shoots out water that freezes on impact. Thanks for watching another Daily Top 10's Top 10 video, and remember, it's our duty to entertain and yours to subscribe.